All right, greetings and peace, everyone. Welcome to the Committed Relationships and Spiritual Activity YouTube show, aka C.R.S.A, the C.R.S.A YouTube channel, C.R.S.A for short. If you don't want to have to say the whole name. But anyways, my name is Neo, and I'm here to share some info with the people. All right, so I got some additional information regarding the employment trap that I talked about before, but this is the revised version of it. This is the psychological trap of the employment trap. And if you haven't known this yet, what I do, and if you're new to the channel, what I do is for years, I have been studying and recognizing throughout my personal development process. After completing a large amount of it, I have identified a variety of different psychological traps that have been set throughout society. Mostly here in America, but it could be also in other world societies also. So if you want to, and I share them here on my YouTube channel. So if you want to see my previous ones, definitely check out my psychological trap series, the playlist on my home page here on this channel. And I might have it, I'm gonna try my best to put it on the end, at the end of this video, so that you can quickly click on it in the end video section, where you can click on the little icon of the video. But anyways, this is a revised, I don't know if I should say revised or additional information, something like that. But what it really is, additional information regarding the employment trap. One thing that I've realized recently in really studying myself also, and comparing myself to how I used to be when I was a worker bee, just like a lot of other people. A worker bee, I call them worker bees, people who work consistently pretty much all day, every day, and every time you talk to them, they're always talking about they're going to work or they're at work or something like that. That is a worker bee. When I used to be a worker bee, I used to have to worry about getting to work on time, doing my best while I'm there, going to lunch, and then making sure that I'm back on lunch on time. And then overall, I just kept looking at the clock, and it was just a consistent psychological, what can I call it? Distraction, really. Even though I was definitely making money, but still, compared to where I am now psychologically and spiritually, it definitely was a major distraction. And that's exactly what it is for a lot of people who definitely need a lot of personal development completion. Because when a person is consistently occupied, well, some people are obsessed with going to work too. But when they are too preoccupied with work, that takes their mind off of their personal development process and also a variety of other important matters of their own life. And what goes on is we have a certain amount of psychological, what did I say that I called it? Psychological real estate, PR. I call it psychological real estate, aka psychological freedom, that allows us to utilize it any way that we choose. And now when a person has a job or a career of any sort, that takes, independent on the amount of time that is spent and that is required of them, time and energy, that is a large amount of psychological real estate taken away, particularly for that task, for those tasks at their job or career. And for some people, that psychological real estate is 85% to 95% to 99%, if not 100%, if not 100%. And that makes less time and energy for their own personal development and for their their relationships, and for their spirituality. This is why I say that jobs and careers can be a huge distraction for a lot of people if they lack the consciousness of what is going on, and if they lack the consciousness of being able to prioritize their own life and time and energy. And now when a person, and some people, well, here in America, for years we're programmed throughout the TV, the radio, and the magazines to always go to work and to be obsessed with work. And there's this always consistent saying, hard work, no play, or hard work, low pay, something like that. And then that influences people to always work. Just work. Just like the song, work. But anyways, and then some people, they're so programmed literally it's ingrained in their brain, in their DNA, to always work, to where even when they do have time off, they're literally thinking about work. They're talking about work. So it's like their life literally is work. So individuals like this, they're less likely to have good relationships with other people because they're always at work, and they have little to no time to actually think about their personal development, let alone actually start their personal development process, to really analyze themselves, analyze their life, analyze their relationships that they're currently in. That's why a lot of these people, their relationships and their life is really hectic. It's like all over the place because they're so obsessed with work, regardless of what job they have, regardless of what career they're in. Basketball player, football player, actor, politician, even working at McDonald's or Burger King. If they are so occupied with work, that decreases their time for other important things, including their spirituality, because that is highly essential. If a person lacks attention and energy for their spirituality, then their life is really going to be hectic. This is all information that I have learned from my personal development process, and after me getting out of being a worker bee completely and not working for anybody, no company. And now I see how much psychological real estate or psychological freedom I have now. Now I can perceive things much on a higher psychic level, spiritual level. And this is where all of my previous videos, information that's within them, come from, because I have so much time and energy and psychological freedom available for me to study and analyze life. That's the reason why a lot of people have been falling into these psychological traps, because they haven't been able to perceive them and also to analyze and avoid them. That's why a lot of people are still trapped into those psychological traps, the most common ones first and foremost, including this employment trap. And they don't realize what this employment trap is actually doing to their minds and also bodies. In particular, those people who really do not like their job or career 100% or even 90%. Because that's one thing I definitely learned throughout my years of studying this, is the more a person goes to a job or career that they absolutely do not like, especially, they are burning up their own energy and they're going against their own spiritual free will as far as their own spiritual path, especially if it doesn't have anything to do with their spiritual path. They really are utilizing their energy the wrong way. That's why a lot of people who are always consistently working, they look older faster, they get sick often. That's one thing I've learned throughout my years too, is me having all of this psychological freedom. It has freed up my energy too, where now that I'm utilizing my time for my spiritual path, I rarely ever, if ever, get sick. I'm usually healthy, and whatever comes down on me is something that I probably didn't drink enough water or something like that, and I can just recover over that within hours, if not a day. So I'm pretty much always pretty much healthy. the majority of the time, and I can stay looking physically young. And I one time I looked at my high school picture and looked at me now, and I realized I really don't look much different from how I did in high school. And that's why the majority of people who see me, who went to high school with me, they know me automatically, because I look very, 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 very similar. And that's a result of keeping stress out of my life and following my spiritual path. So all in all, this is something that you really have to stop and think about. And you have to realize that this has been going on for years throughout society. It has been the major propaganda to get people to be obsessed in obtaining that money and obsessed with having that job or that career, regardless if they like it or not, and really not paying attention to their spiritual path. And a lot of people who have a job currently and who are in a career, that career or job is a lot of times is totally different from their spiritual path. So it's something that everybody has to stop and think about and realize what's going on, and realize and think about all of your whole life, your relationships, your spirituality, and your health, especially your health. I mean, you can have all that money, but just think about if you are sick the majority of the time, what good is that money? I mean, like, how much fun can you really have if you're sick? So that's what I definitely want to go ahead and get across. I'm going to go ahead and close that out. Definitely make sure you check out my previous videos on my channel here. If you would like more information about committed relationships, spirituality, and personal development, and definitely more psychological trap information, definitely make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the bell button if you want email updates of new videos updated. Thank you, and until next time.